In this video, I want to walk you through the basics of retargeting on LinkedIn ads. If you're watching this video, you are getting started with LinkedIn ads for the first time. That is my assumption. You are a beginner and you want to make sure you do this right because retargeting is one of those things that it can be used for good or for evil, right? Meaning you can create positive associations with your brand and you can create absolutely negative associations with your brand with people who are just annoyed and pissed off because you just keep spamming them with ads and you're not creating a good experience. If this is your first time here on this channel, my name is Silvio Perez. I am the founder of AdConversion. We teach over 5,000 plus B2B marketers how to scale ads with our free courses on LinkedIn, Google, and other topics. And I also run an ad agency managing over $3 million a month in ad spend for top B2B SaaS brands. And LinkedIn is a core essential of our toolkit as B2B advertisers. So in this video, let's break down the basics. And I'm going to explain this to you like if you were somebody on my team or if you're a client to really walk you through what you need to know to get started with LinkedIn ads conceptually so you understand how to think about it, the common traps to avoid, so that now when you actually walk into the ad manager, you're equipped with like the foundational knowledge to actually have a shot at creating a positive experience for your users with remarketing. So let's get started at a very, very high level, what you don't want to do with remarketing, and then we'll kind of dive into what good remarketing actually looks like. So, bear with me and my drawings here, but basically the way people do remarketing today on LinkedIn and most platforms, but specifically LinkedIn, is they have a remarketing audience. And just to like define remarketing for everyone here. Remarketing is reaching people who already have engaged with your brand in some way, shape, or form. So there's different ways that this takes into effect. So these are people that like have visited your website. These are people that have visited, your company page on LinkedIn. These are people that have interacted with ads in the past. But essentially, these are people that ideally already know, like, and trust you, or at the very minimum, they know of you. It's not their first time that they've heard of you. So they have this remarketing audience size, right? Let's just pretend this circle is your total remarketing audience size. And what most brands do is they basically just, they'll only promote one offer to these people, and it's to get a demo, right? Or it's to get a trial, or it's to get a consultation. I did not mean to spell DTC, but there you go, direct to consumer. So they're basically just trying to drive some like direct action on their primary offer. Like it's the equivalent of basically following someone around all day, every day, multiple times a day, and you're basically just saying like, buy my stuff or die. This is essentially the equivalent of what we're doing. And as you can imagine, this isn't a very positive experience. And then to add insult to injury, not only are you just following these people all day, every day, asking them to sign up for your stuff, get a demo, trial, whatever your primary thing is, but in addition to that, the ads that you're running are the same ads. You've been running the same set of ads for the past 60 days. You haven't refreshed it. Your frequency is over 18. Your click-through rate is in the shithole, and it's just not a pleasant experience. So this is what we do not want to do. So I just want to make that abundantly clear. This is bad remarketing. So on the flip side, how do we do good remarketing? How do we create positive associations and experiences and do this in a strategic way? So the first thing is we need to understand how to actually build our retargeting audience. So like I mentioned earlier, your retargeting audience is nothing more than an accumulation of segments. So website visitors, company page visitors, ad interactions, these are all different segments. And one of the mistakes that I see people make when they get started with LinkedIn ads retargeting is they only rely on one segment, meaning they're only relying on website visitors, or they're only relying on people who visited your company page, or they're only relying on people that interacted with your ads. What you really want to do is you want to combine these different segments together to create a larger total audience size. This will allow you to really scale your remarketing audience and then allow you to get more strategic with how you filter that size down. So for context, let's pretend in a hypothetical scenario, your website visitor audience only has, let's just say 1,000 people in that audience. If you only have 1,000 people in this audience, and then for your company page visitors, let's say you've got another 1,000, and then for your people who've interacted with your ads, you've got another 1,000 just for easy math. So in total, if we take the size across the 3 audiences, then here, now we have a total size of 3,000. But the mistake that most brands make when they're starting with LinkedIn ads is they just rely on the one segment, so they pigeonhole themselves to just have the benefit of the 1,000, which is silly, right? Like, so instead, the first thing you want to do is you want to create multiple retargeting segments for each one. So as many possible. And when you go into the LinkedIn ads interface and you go to the plan audience section, here under create audience, matched audience, this is where you have the ability to see what you can retarget by. And you've got a whole bunch of opportunities here. So you've got company page, you've got a conversions API, you've got events, you've got single image ad interactions, you've got website visitors, people that interact with your conversation ads, document ad interactions, lead gen form opens, video viewers. Each one of these are opportunities for you to build a larger retargeting audience size. So do not just rely on one segment. You want to build all of them in its entirety. Now, if you're asking, hey, Silvio, that sounds like a lot of work. It is upfront. This is what it will look like in practice. It might look something like this. You'll have different segments. And then what we want to do is, if you have the ability of audience size, is you want to create different segments based on time frames. Because again, we want to create a positive experience for people where we move them along, as best as we can to the best of our ability to try to drive them, build more brand affinity and trust, and move them closer to the point of conversion. So for context, now that you're not just relying on one segment, you've created multiple segments. If you have audience size availability, what I recommend that you do is you build 3 clusters of remarketing cohorts. So the first one is going to be 30 days. The second one is going to be 90 days. And then the third one is going to be 180 days. So what we're doing here is we now have 3 cohorts of time that we are going to group our different remarketing segments underneath. So for context, like this 30-day one would be comprised of web visits. It would be comprised of page visits. It would be comprised of video views, etc., right? But you're going to create all these different segments around the 30-day time frame, and you would repeat the same exact process for 90 days and 180 days. Now, if you're watching this video right now and you're saying, hey, I'm a new startup, I just installed the LinkedIn Insights tag on my website for the first time, I don't have the luxury of size, then my recommendation to you is just focus on 90 days to start and just keep it simple, and then you can follow the rest of the stuff that I'm going to walk you through. But if you do have the luxury of size and you have been running LinkedIn ads, this is really cool for you to do. So from here, now that you've created all these different segments, you've bucketed them to your cohorts, you're already like so much further off compared to everyone else. The next thing I want you to take in consideration is, what are you actually going to show people in your remarketing campaigns? And I'll have a separate video on this going more into like remarketing playbooks and like advanced strategies around this stuff. But the one thing I want to take away, because this is a basics video, is I want you to take away the experience and how to create that positive association. So again, what we do not want to do is we don't want to do this, right? This is bad. We don't want to just be like, hey, we went through all this effort of like creating these 3 different cohorts of time. We're leveraging more segments. So now that we're leveraging more segments, now we could also apply like LinkedIn's filters, where like anybody that's been a part of my remarketing cohort and they have these specific job functions or these seniorities, these things become available to you as an option now that you've scaled your remarketing audience size. That would not be an option if you were just relying on a single segment. But anywho, what you don't want to do now is like, you've gone through this process of creating these different cohorts, and now all you do is make the same mistake where you're saying, in this case, you're just saying get a demo, right? Which is not what we want. So basically, the way you want to think about this is you want to create a newsletter. So let me just explain what I mean by that. And the reason I think of remarketing as a newsletter is because if you think about the best newsletters are a combination of great content, like valuable content, but also offers, right? They're asking you to do something. And remarketing is basically the newsletter that everyone is on, but they didn't actually consent to be opted into, but they're on your newsletter, right? And the difference between like collecting an email and having an email list is they're on this remarketing newsletter, right? You've got this remarketing newsletter of 3,000 people. They're on there and you have the ability to get in front of them. And now it's up to you on how you do that. The difference is, of course, like they didn't actually opt in. This is just based on interactions that they've done, right? And we can collect that information with the platforms. So when you think about it from the analogy of a great newsletter, like I said, newsletters have a mixture of content and offers. So my recommendation to you, to keep it really simple, and we can go more in future videos, is you want to spend 50% of your budget. So 50% should be on content. This is content. And this ugly O is offers, okay? So 50-50. So 50% is on content and 50% is on offers. If you just did that, that means half the time you're adding value, half the time you're asking for something. Now, as far as like what types of content you should promote, there are a few types of content that I would recommend. And like I said, I'll definitely go more in detail in future videos. But content that works really well here is like social proof content. So these are like video testimonials, case studies, basically using other people to speak on the good of what you've done for them to create credibility. Product marketing content where you're educating users based on the problems you solve and how your product solves those problems. In addition to that, you can do thought leadership content. So content where you're giving your authority and experience and expertise on certain topics that are related to what you solve. So these are all different kinds of buckets of content that you could spend your time promoting 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, you can make the ask. Hey, get the demo, sign up for the free trial, et cetera, right? So if you were to just do this, now you are ahead of the game in terms of mastering the retargeting basics. And now you'll create a more positive experience for people because what you're doing is like a newsletter, you're allowing them to decide what they want to interact with, right? You're giving them these different opportunities. You're showing them just different content. You're showing them these different offers. And then they themselves, the user, gets to decide what they want to interact with. And then you can retarget further based on the action they took. Meaning, I'm showing them all these ads. If they decide to interact with my demo ads, now I can create a specific retargeting campaign, just retargeting the cluster of people that visited my demo pages but didn't convert and trying to get them to take that action. But now I'm retargeting based on action and not assumption. Again, I'm kind of dipping into the advanced stuff here, but just to concrete summarize for you guys right now as beginners, starting with retargeting, you do not want to create this experience where you are just like pitch slapping them in the face 3 times a day. You also don't want to make the mistake of just relying on one single retargeting segment. Maximize your size by combining multiple segments. If you have the ability to create different cohorts of segments based on 30, 90, and 180 days, that's awesome. Because then what you can do, which is what I'll cover in future videos, is now you can also tailor different types of content for the 30-day cohort versus the 90-day cohort versus the 180-day cohort, right? So now you can give them more of a sequential experience on what you expose them with versus just showing everyone the same thing. But if you don't have that luxury, that's fine. Just start with the 90-day one and just show them everything and then let them decide what they want to interact with. So that is it for this video. If you found it helpful, give this video a like, drop a comment down below if what you want to learn more about. And if you guys are looking for courses on LinkedIn ads, like I said, we provide free courses taught by the best practitioners. 5,000 plus students learn from our courses. We've got 3 incredible courses on LinkedIn ads taught by Jan Burke. So LinkedIn Ads 101 will give you the fundamentals on how to get started with LinkedIn, how to launch your first campaigns. 102 is all about optimization. Now that you've launched your campaigns, how do you make them better? How do you improve them? And then there, finally, now that you've improved them, how do you do more? How do you scale? And he really walks you through all these different things. Again, all of our courses are free. If you're like skeptical and you're wondering like, why are they free? Like the whole reason I started AdConversion was because I wanted to create a place in the world where you can learn how to run ads from start to finish and not get ripped off in the process. All of our courses are shot in a studio. There's workbooks, there's resources, there's templates. The only thing for us is if you found value from our courses, you can like them, share them, help us spread the word. And when you're ready, you can join our private community and go deeper. So that's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much. If you want more content like this here on YouTube, then make sure to watch this video here, which I think you're going to like. I'll see you in the next one.